Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row.
Danny Berejnay wins on debut.
Shinaka returns to winning ways in WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Bowman spin, stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo. Here comes Longy.
We're going 4 wide down to turn 1.
Oh, he's taking him out.
The captain run was complete.
Sonic to the inside.
Shadow wins at Brazil. Absolutely sensational.
Welcome back to WOR. It's been a hot minute with a load of breaks and week breaks and too much going on that it kind of makes my brain confuzzled half the time. But we are back in Brazil for round 12 of the WOR Tier 2 season. I am once again joined by the legendary F1 manager Bazaar, Badger Man right here. Sorry, I had to drop it in eventually.
Of course. No, it's totally fine. I mean, if anything, I would say playing a lot of F1 Manager has sort of sharpened my senses for things like strategy on the F1 game as well. So it can only be better than it ever has been. Plus, it's Brazil, which always delivers. And one thing you didn't mention, which I thought you were going to, not only is it round 12, it's round 12 of 13, which puts us in the wonderful position that the championship can be decided today.
Yeah, do you talk of championships? Here is the standings of the championship as a thank you, Farah, for creating this beautiful overlay for us. As you can see, Jeffrey Ritchie is at the top at 128 points, Harvey Cohen at 118, and Bloem Farah, I called him Farah, it's Farah, sorry Farah, with 108. So there's 3 people potentially who can win this championship, but the main focus is on Jeffrey Ritchie, who I can confirm is racing today, and Harvey Cohen's racing today, so it's going to be interesting. Badger, do you have the maths, though, behind this?
I do have the maths. Technically, there's 5 drivers still in the hunt that are not mathematically eliminated. However, for Daniel Kjeldsen, who is down 48 points on the leader, a lot and I mean a lot would have to happen. One, he has to win today and in Jeddah next week. Two, Jeffrey Ritchie is effectively allowed, I think, 1 point? Yeah, 1 point is all he's allowed to get. With fastest laps for Kjeldsen, it could rise up to 3, but yeah, effectively Kjeldsen is out. Between Ritchie and Cohen, 10 points, which means if Jeffrey Ritchie wins, it's no, it's not over. Hold on. If Ritchie wins by 16, I don't know how they count the sprint races. That's my problem right now. Because Jeffrey Ritchie has won a sprint race, Harvey Cohen has not. But okay, so if Jeffrey Ritchie, if Ritchie wins and Harvey Cohen finishes in what would that be? Hold on, 17, 25, 8 in P6. There you go. If Ritchie wins and Cohen finishes 6th or worse, anything else doesn't matter. Willem Farad doesn't matter because he's 20 points down. That's too much already. If Ritchie wins, that would be at least 27. So if Ritchie wins and Cohen finishes P6 or worse, it's over. It's done. And Jeddah will just be a victory lap for, a bunch of victory laps, 25, for Jeffrey Ritchie.
So
if Ritchie finishes 2nd, it's still not over. Harvey Cohen is allowed exactly 1 point, P10 or worse, and Boualem Farah has to be outscored by 7 points as well, which means he would have to finish P5 or lower. Then it's also over.
I'm just gonna take your word. You did the maths very quickly, but
yeah. And if Jeffrey Ritchie finishes P3 or worse, we are definitely guaranteed going to a showdown next week in Jeddah.
Ooh, I do like a good showdown though.
So if you want to see the title decider, even if you like Jeffrey Ritchie, you're gonna have to cheer against him here today. P3 is the best he's allowed to do. P2, and we get into the maths. P1, and I feel it's quite likely that Ritchie actually ends up walking away with the championship if something befalls Harvey Cohen here today.
Yeah, but you have to remember that win's growing less and less because of our lovely, Algerian driver of Farah. He's how loud was that? Was that pretty loud? I do apologize. Farah really coming in strong in the last few races. Abu Dhabi, he got a win. He win in, am I reading the right line? Win in Canada, and he's just been up there near the top.
It wasn't Abu Dhabi, it was Japan, but...
Oh, I'm looking...
Abu Dhabi was Harvey Cohen.
Yeah, this spreadsheet's too complicated for my eyes. So yeah, he's been up there.
You should see mine at that point.
Yeah, but as mentioned, Farah really does put the pressure on, winning last week's race, winning both sprint races as well. We know he's a guy who can attack. He definitely puts himself out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls out something out of the bag. But Cohen also has been relatively quick recently as well, winning in Italy, Yas Marin, and also getting 8 points in Japan. So a fairly decent stack of points, but there's so much to play with here, and it's so unknown. I'm intrigued of how this is going to turn out. As
yeah,
absolutely
the same. I mean, this is anyone's ball game at this point. I would not count out Farah if Jeffrey Ritchie doesn't have the best of races, and going by his last couple of results, a DNF in Spain, a P3 in Abu Dhabi, a P5 in Monza. He hasn't been in the top 2, which he would be required to get in order to potentially close out the championship. He hasn't been in the top 2 since Australia. That was round 4. That was 8 races ago. He hasn't been in the top 2 in over 2 months. If we count all the breaks that we have had in between, probably right around 3 months that he hasn't seen a top 2 spot. Abu Dhabi P3 was his best. Not counting sprint races, because he did get a P2 in the sprint race in Belgium, but that's only 7 points, and we're talking about 25 and 18 in the main race right now. So very, very tricky situation. Ritchie does not have the momentum. He's sort of resting on his laurels. He's still got that gap. He's still got that lead, but it's been shrinking ever since Australia, really. It's been shrinking ever since, and he's just resting on that. He started the season red hard. He got 2 wins in the first 3 races, and then a P2 in Australia in round 4. But since then, it's just, you know, like a squirrel. He's sort of been collecting his points here and there, but never the big ones. Always sort of in the midfield, you know, a P5, P6, P4, that sort of stuff. And that's why he is still in the lead. But can he hold on? 10 points to Cohen, 20 to Farah, with 2 races to go. It's not that much. Harvey Cohen, at least, can still win this championship under his own power. If he wins both races tonight and in Jeddah, it doesn't matter what Jeffrey Ritchie is doing whatsoever, Harvey Cohen will win the championship.
Things will spice up, and do you know what? What a track we're going to do it on. We're going to be heading over to Sao Paulo in Brazil, the 2.9 mile circuit with 15 turns, and we know this track is a track for overtaking. The F1 real world will demonstrate some absolutely brilliant moves. Actually, I think on average they said it was about what was the numbers they said behind? I think it was in the 60s. You get 60 overtakes on the day. I think I might be a bit too extreme, but technically there's a truckload on this track, and I hope they can pull the same thing as you do in the real world onto the track today.
Well, I can tell you, it's certainly not 60 overtakes per lap, so that...
Not per lap, over the race.
Would that be for 100% race or 50%?
Well, a full F1
Surely
weekend.
IRL 100%,
Yeah,
right?
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
the IRL.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
I feel that you can't really compare IRL with the game though, because the effects of dirty air, despite the regulation changes that we've had obviously since 2021 to the season that has ended earlier today, have made it so that dirty air is significantly less important. It's still a lot more IRL than it is on the game. On the game, dirty air is noticeable, but it's not that severe compared to, compared to real life. So drivers can follow each other a lot closer, and that should make, technically speaking, for more overtaking. So I would think we definitely get a lot more than 30 throughout the course of this race here.
Absolutely. And talking of real F1, how are you holding up with Seb gone?
Why'd you have to bring that up?
Why
Why do you have to make me sad? Why?
Well, no. As a genuine friend, I want to make sure you're okay. As we all know, today was the last race of Formula One, and hence the end of a brilliant legend. And Danke, Seb, for the 4 championships you provided, the brilliant racing you have made, and entertaining the entire world, as well as putting out a strong message to the world. And you will forever be missed. Though we'll see you back in what, 2-3 years? Since everyone's predicting.
That's what Fernando Alonso said as well. Fernando Alonso said, I think after the race it was, he said, we'll see you back in a couple of years. You know, I'm waiting for that. I'm looking forward to that, he said. And I hope, but with him, I don't see it. I don't see him coming back, because the reasoning was different. For Alonso, it was like, well, you know, I'm driving shit cars. Sorry for the swearing, by the way. I'm driving horrible cars. They can't turn. They can't accelerate. GP2 engine, you know, all that stuff. I don't want to do this anymore. And then he got a very enticing offer from Alpine, and he's like, you know what? Maybe they're going to be better. It turns out they not really were any better, but, you know, he still came back, and now he's going to Aston Martin, hoping that somehow he can get them out of the dumps. But, you know, with Seb, it's different. Seb said he wants to be there for his family. You know, it wasn't the same sort of, what's the word, justification. It wasn't the same explanation. He wants to be there for his family. What I can see Seb do is one of two things. Either, and I've heard that he was apparently offered a management position of some sort within Red Bull / AlphaTauri. I can see him take that. Option number 2, I can see him race in DTM. That's about the only thing, because he lives, I think, in Switzerland, if I'm not mistaken. And if he lives in Switzerland, DTM have all their races quite close. So it's easy to travel there. It's not that you have to go to Bahrain and to Abu Dhabi, to Japan and to the USA and to Brazil like we are today. And like all these places all around Australia, you know, all these places around the world. No, you go, you know, 200 kilometers out, you know, it's a Sunday drive. literally. Because that's what DTM usually races Saturday and Sunday, so it works out. But, you know, I can see him do that. Either that or management position within Red Bull AlphaTauri. One of the two. I don't see him coming back to F1 at all.
Different outlook. I would like to, you know, as a fan, especially of Formula 1, I would love to see him back in a seat doing something. But at the same time, you know, he is getting older. He has mentioned about his family, as you mentioned. So I can see his reasoning behind that, and see him in esports. You know, he might crop up somewhere in there because then he's at home, and much like what we're seeing today, you know, right now, it's a lot easier to watch. You know, you're at home, it's a comfortable position, and you get great racing anyway with the esports scene as well. And as shown in the esports league at the moment, that's definitely spicing up to be a brilliant championship.
Oh yeah, for sure. But so is this one right here. I don't know what happened to Boel Ferrar, but that 1 minute 24 is not close to the pace he can normally do. So I think that must have been a severe mistake on his first flying lap, but he decides to still continue and press on with it and at least post this lap. And if I just check real quick, yeah, I think he just generally took it slow, because in the first sector he lost 7 seconds, in the middle sector he lost 10, and then the final sector he actually went, or was that a second out lap? Maybe he was just doing a second out lap. That's an interesting strategy. Normally, you don't see that too much, but it makes sense to do that at Brazil because you have so many long straights. If you think about, you know, coming out of this corner that Boel Ferrar's in right now, and then to the center is, then of course the Reto Aposta, the back straight, and then even the run out of turn 5 to the horseshoe to Ferradura. You don't get, and there you go. It actually works like a charm to do a second out lap. So it makes sense in a way because the track is quite short, 4.3 kilometers, 2.7 miles. It's not that much distance to get to get temperature into the tires. So, you know, doing a secondary out lap might just do it. Maybe he looked at his tire temps and said, "Yeah, I'm not happy with this. That's not enough." And so he decided, yeah, we'll just do another one slowly. And then for the final sector, of course, he went full beans, as they say. I think that's the technical term, at least. Then that's why he didn't lose any time there. It works out. I mean, 5 milliseconds ahead of Nelson Alves, and in a very good position right now. So a little championship watch here, 7 minutes into the qualifying. Boel Ferrar, championship contender, currently P3 in the standings, is on provisional pole. Daniel Kjeldsen, currently P5 and hanging on by a thread in the championship, is in P3. Jeffrey Ritchie, the leader, is in P4. Harvey Cohen, the main contender, in P2, is only down in 8th. And then we have finally, the last one is Thomas Harvey, who is, we haven't talked much about him, and is he even here? Hold on. I don't see his name.
Harvey, no, he's not in, as Jonah Martins goes and puts it on pole, but left it. He copied Boel Ferrar, and doing a second lap, he goes and puts it on pole. So clearly that strategy is working. Nelson Alves looking to put in a very strong lap, so he might be trying to sneak pole off 10 minutes into 10 minutes left of this qualifying session. So already it's going to chop and change quite a bit in the early stages of qualifying, and we're starting to see drivers, as mentioned, doing 2 laps, and P4 for Nelson Alves, so not enough, but that gap between 1 and 4, only a 10th.
Yeah, meanwhile, Danny Kjeldsen moves up to P3 in between the Ferraris of Ritchie and Martins there. Also a very good lap, and with only one out lap this one. So yeah, the question is, has he left something on the table there maybe by just doing one? I don't know, but he's on his way back to the pits, of course. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, we have all the championship contenders. Again, Thomas Harvey not here today, so that by default means he's out of the championship. So he will not be able to. Well, he's not out of the championship entirely, but he will not win it. Sergio Sabrino has retired. That's a crash in turn 1, and unfortunately, we don't have anyone close to that. Felipe Sosa is going back into the pits. Nice. That's not helpful. I was hoping he could show us. Javier Fernandez also going in. Are you kidding me? Okay, and now the car is gone, so we can't see it. Great.
Yeah, I can't see the
Codemasters,
wreckage.
please give us free cameras that we can just, in turn 1, in turn 2, in every corner, one camera. That'd be so great.
That would be very nice to be able to switch to those things. I've just noticed, is this person in, as Tim goes wide round the turn 3 and losing it, is the person in P12, Theo McKee, is this his first race in Tier 2?
Are you kidding me right now?
Have I said this before? Or am I really being
You have. We've talked about him. We've talked about him for the last 3 races every single time. He scored points every single time.
Oh, my memory.
He was
bad.
P2 last week or 2
Oh
weeks
my
ago, 2 weeks
God, he
ago
was.
in Japan.
He was. Oh my god. This is how. But this is where I need a second monitor. I am running off one more monitor. Just trying to manage this entire stream. I don't have the information in front of me. I'm a lot better when I have information. Okay.
You can just print the standings out, right? Print
that involves effort, man. I've already got 2 pieces of paper.
Hold on.
I have a
Time
pronunciation.
out, Hyper. That involves effort. No commentator has ever gotten anywhere without effort. Here's the thing. I've seen like top tier commentators, IRL sports commentators, prepare for events they were covering before. It's a lot of hecking effort, I can tell you that much.
I am aware.
It's a lot of effort.
I am fully aware.
If you want to move up the ranks, if you want to, I can't give you that spot. I'm not in charge of that. That's Luke. But if you at some point want to commentate WR Tier 1, you're gonna have to put in some effort.
I'll put in effort, okay, man? Like, bro, I'm getting myself. I have a lot on my plate. 4 days until the commentators challenge. I'm kind of psyching myself up for that, man. Just
good luck for that, by the way.
It's gonna be.
I think everyone from Tier 2 is cheering you on for that one.
Thank you.
Win that.
Don't worry. I'll make sure I'll get a live stream up for my entire time there. But enough about me and
just record it and put it out as a YouTube video and be like, I won. Imagine how much of a clickbaity title it would be. I won the DHL Commentators Challenge. Oh, you would get thousands of views.
I probably would, and I'd actually be successful at YouTube for once. I tried once.
You just need the right thumbnail for it too.
A big smiley face, open a thumbs in the air, bang, there you go.
Yeah, and DHL and F1 logos.
Oh yeah, plaster that everywhere. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
I've been copying on Mr. Beast. He's done it well. He's done it well.
Yes. He's all right.
Yeah.
Only the biggest YouTuber in the world right now. Yeah, he's okay.
It'll do.
Yeah. Anyway, JST, we have 5.5 minutes left. I think this is sort of the calm before the storm that we're going to see here. JST, out of absolutely nowhere, in P1 on provisional pole position. He won the British Grand Prix, round 5 of this championship. 1 finish, 3 DNFs, and 2 no-shows. 2 did not start, DNSs. And as I say that, Daniel Kjeldsen, again, the man hanging from a thread, or hanging on a thread in the championship. 48 points down with 2 races remaining. If he wins this today, he's on provisional pole now. If he wins this today and somehow Jeffrey Ritchie scores no points, I'm going to lose it. Like, this would be the biggest and most unlikely comeback ever. This would be bigger. This would be bigger than 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
It would. And then taking account Daniel Kelson, you know, start off the season brilliantly strong. We were basically saying this man's a contender for this championship, and then through the mid part of the season, and especially the latter end, just dropped off. The results weren't coming to him. So the fact he's still clawing in at the championship, you know, at the tail end, that would be a brilliant story to see Daniel Kelson win this. It would be brilliant. And especially if Jeffrey Ritchie doesn't score points, that opens the door to everything. And I would say that it'd be the best comeback ever. And I will agree, probably as good as a good Super Bowl score like that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his results so far this season, and you're absolutely right. First 2 races, he scored 32 points, 12 in Austria, and then 20 in Bahrain. Of course, 2 points from the sprint race and 18 from the main race. And he looked pretty good. And then it sort of by the US race, it sort of started dying down a bit. Only 6 points there. No showed Australia. 1 point in Britain. Then sort of he had a mid-season resurgence with 19 points in Belgium. Again, 1 point in the sprint race, not fastest lap point. We don't we don't hand those out here. I forgot.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, that makes it trickier for Daniel Kelson, by the way. And so, yeah, 19 points at Belgium, 10 points at Canada, and then it was very much nothing. No points in Italy, no showed Spain, didn't even see the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi. And then Japan 2 weeks ago, all of a sudden he's back again. The second resurgence of Daniel Kelson with a P4. And I don't know if this is the sign of more to come now, if he really feels the pressure and he says, you know what, I respond very well to pressure. That P1 to me says, yeah, that he just loves pressure. He needs pressure. If he's in the sort of situation where he's not under full pressure and has the load of the world on his shoulders, he doesn't perform as well as when he does. Buelem Farago's P1, meanwhile, that is about the least, the most expected outcome right here. Buelem Farah doing well. The least surprising is what I wanted to say originally. And it's all kicking off now. Everyone's on track right now. And I hope that we're going to see some more lap times. I think is Harvey Cohen
Jeffrey
crossing
Ritchie
the line.
looking strong. Just saying, he is up on his time. It's not enough to take pole. It's close, but it's not enough, and he might have to do one more lap, see if that extra lap gives it better temperature. Comes across the line, it's going to be P4. Daniel Kelson is done for the session. He is retired in the pits, so there is no more from him, but Jeffrey Ritchie can potentially do another lap.
Yeah, not this one, because he doesn't have the ERS, so he has to have a cool down lap here, but has to be quite quick with it. 1 minute and 6. If you cross the line now, it's over. That's going to be your final lap. But Richie crossed the line about 25 seconds ago. He's okay. He can do the cooldown lap. And I think he might actually just do that. And then he comes back and might do another run. So this is certainly possible.
I'll tell you someone else not to rule out. Lefted. He keeps surprising us all the time. He puts in brilliant laps and shakes up the field. Yes, he's not in this championship, but there's a purple middle from him, and it's a 10th and a 3rd off his time. So already he's looking punchy. He's about to shake up the entire grid for the qualifying of this session. He's going wide, so I don't think he's got a good time. It puts it enough for P3. So he's lost a bit of time on the end. So door is open. Door is open.
Yeah, door is very open. I'm really focused on Richie right now. Tom97 goes P14. Mark Schloter crosses the line.
Done.
No improvement. Sorry, what?
Farah is done. He's gone into the pits.
Oh, Richie also into the pits. And Jonah Martins has actually crashed in Sector 2. His car's gone now. He's actually crashed in Turn 7. Where this year at least, Daddy Ricciardo collected Kevin Magnussen, famously.
Nelson
so
Alves
exactly
not strong enough.
Corner.
It's not strong enough for pole. It won't be. The time with Delta was down on the second sector. P5 for him. So that ain't going to be good enough for him. Harvey Cohen out, not doing a lap. And I think that is really the contenders, unless... No, Lefted is not on a lap. So that in retrospect, unless someone down near the bottom can pull something out, is going to be your qualifying.
Yeah, I'm gonna check if somebody is in a good situation with their ERS where, you know, they may have something up their sleeve. I think Javier Fernandez is gonna try here, but no, he's going into the pits. Taz P14 and Tom 97 is on no deployment. So yeah, that's it. Buellem Farrar on pole position. Jeffrey Ritchie down in P6. And Harvey Cohen in P7. So, oh my, I'm going to keep an eye on that for the opening laps. I tell you that. Harvey Cohen and Jeffrey Ritchie starting pretty much next to each other, diagonally offset, but, you know, pretty much next to each other. I'm going to keep an eye on that. That could spell disaster.
Tell you what, you keep an eye on P6 and P7. I'll keep an eye on P1 and P2 because Buellem Farrar and P1, Daniel Keltson, who could open this door for his opportunity to get back into this championship. It could happen, but it is under a dire situation. But to be honest, it's not possible. We have seen worse come out of this, and we have seen stuff like this happen.
Certainly, yeah. It's it is possible. It's so unlikely. I would say if you went to a bookmaker and asked what's the odds on Daniel Kjelsen winning this championship, I think you'd get something like 1,000 to 1. I think it's that unlikely.
A bit harsh.
Simply because of the championship situation. Because what you need is Kjelsen needs to win both races today and next week. He needs Ritchie to basically crash out both times.
Okay, yeah.
He needs Harvey Cohen to not score more than 11 points in both races combined. He needs Buellem Farrar to not score more than 21 points in both races combined. There is so much that needs to happen for Danny Kjelsen to win the championship that it's just that unlikely. It's not against. I'm not against Daniel Kjelsen. I think he's a fantastic driver. This is not an indictment of his driving. I'm saying it's so unlikely at this point that he's winning the championship because of the constellation, not because of his skill. Because he's on the front row. He clearly has skill.
Well, there you go. That's Bookie Badger taking in your bets right there. He's collecting them.
I'm not. Nope, I will not accept any money whatsoever. Nope. Or if I do, you will not see it back, no matter the outcome.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. You're not seeing any of it back. I'm keeping it for myself. 20 seconds left to the race will start, and it has been an eventful qualifying. It is tossed and turned. Quick predictions before the race start.
Good question. I would rather go into the strategies. I think we're going to see a lot of hard runners at the start because the tires are warmed up, and then pit window would open around lap 16 for the hards, and if they really want to go long, lap 25 for the softs.
Well, 5 lights are showing. We wait, and it begins, and it seems to be a good start from Farrar. He's going to get the launch that he wants, and Keltson is not finding the launch he absolutely needs as he drops down to P3 and is now having to fight for it, that P3 as well. So from second to third, not the start that the McLaren driver wanted at all as they head all the way through to the spin at the back. That's a Haas and an Aston Martin. That's Sosa and Marquez getting all tangled up as the second Haas driver, Nelson Alves, is going wide, allowing Jeffrey Ritchie through into turn 6, 7, and 8, as it seems to be very calm right now. Not too much as Harvey Cohen gets into the rear end of Nelson Alves.
No. Jonah Martin's got into the rear end of Harvey Cohen. The Ferrari pushed the Red Bull here. That's what happened. That's why Harvey Cohen went slightly sideways. He got a push from the rear. The rear got light, and Jonah Martin's trying to do a little bit of help for his teammate here, potentially. No, I'm obviously joking, but, you know, that was a tricky situation for Cohen there. Very easy to lose the car there. Very well held. Great save from the Red Bull driver.
I'll tell you who's up there. JST. He's only won once in Britain, and he's up in P4, and he's looking mighty off the start as we're about to get what the gains and losses are. And I think the person who's done the most was Tom Martinez, or Tom97, and also Hudson Poole, gaining 4 positions apiece. And who's that fallen? Oh, Hudson Poole. just dropped 2 positions.
Yeah, I mean, well, Sergio Sobrino up 4. And as you mentioned, Tom 97, Hudson Pool falls more. Hayes now down in P19 with a problem in turn 4 in Desida de Lago. And yeah, he's fallen way off. Meanwhile, Nelson Alves and Harvey Cohen are battling through the infield here. Oh, and Jonah Martins once again getting touchy. This is the 2nd time now. This time with Nelson Alves, not with a championship contender, thankfully, but still with Nelson Alves. And Alves loses 2 positions from it. So Jonah Martins here, I would say, deploying some NASCAR-esque tactics. The push to pass, quite literally.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be reviewed with the steward's office. They're going to be quite busy today from the way this race start has begun. And he needs to be careful, because if he keeps doing that, eventually he will break that front wing, which won't benefit him at all, and he'll end up in the dipper. Mark Schuttler, I think I got that right eventually, is going to make a move into turn 4. No, so decides against it, but that Alpine driver goes massively wide, so that could mount another move into 6, 7, and 8. No, not close enough.
Meanwhile, just quickly look at the gap from P1 to P2. Bourlem Farrar, I say this with all the